Join us momentarily from the Stanford Cardinal. Stanford lost Tyrell Terry to the NBA draft, but certainly have one of the best teams in the league, and certainly a team that I think we all believe will be, it was on the cusp of the AP top 25. They're going to certainly be a team that's going to be in contention to be in one of those spots in the top 25 and to get into the NCAA tournament. As Oscar joins us, I talked to him earlier in this offseason when he's back in Germany, made his way back to the West Coast. I know he initially went back there to during the lockdown. And there he is, joins us now from Palo Alto. Oscar, I remember talking to you when you were in Germany. And at that point, we had no idea what was going to happen. And I'm just curious, when did you know it was the right time to get back to the States, back to Palo Alto, in the hopes that there would be a season?
That's a really good question. I think at the time that I left, it certainly was a little bit of a gamble because back here in the Bay Area, gyms weren't open yet. Our team was working out outside on the tennis courts, and I know a lot of other schools have gone through that too. But I think my situation at home, just in terms of training, was actually better at the time that I left than here. But I mean, it just felt right. Like I was missing my guys a lot, and obviously we're trying to get ready for a season. And we all kind of came back at the start of September over a 2-week interval. And as soon as we all got back, it felt right.
So you're one of the few people that can say you've been on sort of both sides of this, and literally traveled internationally when very few people have been able to do so. What was that like? I mean, dealing with a pandemic in Germany and then coming here to the States and actually traveling to the States and now seeing it surge again.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad that we're seeing these spikes again in numbers, but over the summer when I was home, I think the German authorities did a decent job of kind of managing the pandemic early on. So in the summer, life was, like closer to normal than I think it is right now. Like gyms were open, restaurants were open, bars were open, people were allowed to gather. So the summer was actually like quite fun at home. And yeah, I mean, when I got back, fortunately, Santa Clara County was also kind of up on the way to start opening things up again. So it was kind of a seamless transition there. But international travel was really, really affected. Like on my plane that I came here with, I had probably like 30 people on there. So I had tons of space. So you could really see that people weren't, traveling as much back and forth as they would normally.
All right, so let's shift to the court. No Tyrell Terry, but really something that says that this program has come back up is the fact that they can survive a loss like Tyrell Terry, and it's not devastating to lose a player that maybe you don't anticipate losing early to the NBA draft. Why is it that this program now can absorb something like that and still be a Pac-12 title contender?
I mean, I think the fact that is true is pretty cool. And I've seen it morph into this position where we are right now over the last 3 years. And it gives me a lot of pride. I'm sure it gives the coaching staff a lot of pride to, to be able to have a program, having built a program over the last few years where you have high level guys coming in every year and your team gets more and more competitive season after season.
All right, Stanford, Colorado games, family affair. What are those going to be like?
Oh yeah, big time family affair. That's definitely, playing against my younger brother is definitely going to give me a little extra boost in competitiveness for sure. I'm really very much looking forward to those games, even though my family unfortunately won't be able to come out for those games. I think it'll still be a lot of fun for both of us.
And lastly, Oscar, in what way, despite all these crazy obstacles, have you become a better player?
I think this time away from everybody really gave me a chance to figure out new ways to connect with people, and also just like realizing how important it is to have personal connections and to be in touch with your guys. So I think coming back here now, it's given me more appreciation for the privilege of us being together and getting to spend time together. So I think it's made me a better teammate in terms of just like trying to connect with guys and talk to guys, spend time with guys, because that obviously got taken away from us over the summer.
Oscar, appreciate it. Back to you, Jesse.
All right, thanks, Andy, and welcome, Oscar. Oscar, we'll go to media Q&A now. And to lead us off, we will go to RJ Abadia, the Stanford bootleg.
Hey, Oscar, thanks for doing this.
No problem.
Two on-court things I want to ask about, because there have been kind of big talking points. Number one, turnovers. And then number two, you talked the last time we talked about getting better starts in games. And I'm just wondering how much of those two things have been a focus and how you guys are doing with that in practice.
Yeah, so turnovers continue to be kind of our biggest talking point in practices and our biggest point of emphasis. Coach keeps saying that turnovers are going to be kind of the determining factor for a season. So we've been paying a lot of attention to those. And then starting games, I think I've made some progress just in the way I've been approaching practices. Not coming in lax, like treating practices like a real game, and just coming in focused and ready to take the competition to my guys.
Okay, next question, we will go to Rusty Simmons of the San Francisco Chronicle.
Hey, Oscar, you mentioned practicing on the tennis courts. Give me an idea of some of the main ways where you've seen kind of dealing with the coronavirus pandemic affect how you guys are working.
I don't think it affected the way we're working in terms of doing the right work. I think it definitely threw out some new obstacles in terms of, being able to have a court or being able to have a weight room, things like that. But I don't think it's affected at all the way or, the intensity that we work out with. And so when I got back, we had just moved to the tennis courts, and the setups were decent. I mean, we had a lot of space out there and we could get real shots up. And then the weight room, they had a little setup in the concourse of Maples, because that's technically an open air area. So both of those setups have been, pretty good to work with. And then obviously we've been back in the gym for a few weeks now. So it's been, I'd say, generally pretty good since I came back.
And then I was going to ask you about your personal development. It's been obvious these last several years. What steps would you like to see in your game this season?
Yeah. So this off season, I think I focus a lot on my shot, just because I think without being a real threat from three, it makes your game more or less dimensional. So I think being able to knock down 3-pointers more consistently is going to open up new avenues for me to score, both from three, and then also, it's going to give me driving lanes if my player or my opponent has to respect my shot and play me on the 3-point line.
And lastly, I was going to ask about Zaire. I've read a ton about him. What are your early impressions of him?
Great guy. We're having a lot of fun. He's fun to be around. Good, like well-spirited kid. And obviously on the court, he's really, really gifted, moves really well, can shoot the ball, can handle it, can pass it really well. So a really, really great overall player, and we're very happy to have him.
Thanks so much, Oscar.
Thank you.
Okay, next question, we will go to Justin Spears of the Arizona Daily Star.
Hey, Oscar, in February, you had that pretty scary injury. I'm just curious, now that, you're healthy, how do you kind of remember that situation and really how it affected you?
I think I got, given the circumstances, it was still pretty lucky. I just, got away with a concussion. I think it looked scarier than it ended up being. I was fine after the game. I had a little bit of a headache. And then when we flew back to campus the next day, I was a little out of it. But then the week after, I think the game was maybe on a Saturday or Saturday. And then the week after, really, I was feeling fine. I was starting to get my workouts and conditioning, workouts in, and went through the concussion protocol. So it ended up being not too bad. And I'm kind of I was a little upset that I had to sit out that one game against ASU because that was still within the time frame where I had to, rest. But that was the only game I missed, so it didn't really, affect me too much.
Okay, next question, we will go to Pat Rooney of the Boulder Daily Camera.
Hey, Oscar, I know Andy Katz asked you about your brother obviously coming to Colorado. I wanted to follow up on that. I guess just how exciting was it for you and your family when he first started getting recruited, and the possibility of him coming to Pac-12 was maybe becoming a reality? And then, after that, wondering just how much, did you guys ever play on opposite teams at all growing up, club teams, anything like that?
Yeah, so we were all very happy that when he started to get his first offers, it was a joint effort with, I asked my coaches to, spread the word about him a little bit. Obviously that having, a brother that plays over here and knows some people in Pac-12 or in college basketball helped him out getting recruited. And, I'm very proud of him. I think he put in all the work to be able to be in that position. He put that in himself. And as far as playing is concerned, we never really played like real competitively with or against each other because Tristan is kind of a late bloomer. So by the time that I left to the US, he was still playing really like lower level basketball. And I don't think a lot of people know this, but like competitive basketball, he's really been only playing for like a year and a half probably, and made a really, really big jump in that short time. So this is actually going to be the first time that we really like play competitively outside of, like playing one-on-one outside in the backyard or something like that.
Okay, we'll go back to RJ Abadia of the Bootleg.
Hey, Oscar, one of the talking points this season has been the whole point guard by committee approach. Coach Haase has talked about the fact that there are going to be a few guys with those responsibilities. How is that working out for you guys on the court, and who have you seen step into that role who has kind of impressed you?
I think it's working out well. It gives us a lot more flexibility while also, decentralizing the point guard spot a little bit and having less pressure on the point guard. Obviously Dejan assumed a little bit more of a point guard role than he did last year. Now that's high left, and I think, he's doing a phenomenal job as he has his first 2 years. And then Bryce is playing point guard as well, doing a good job. We have Michael O'Connell, the freshman, who still has to learn a lot, certainly, but is really, really gifted and knows how to play. And so is Noah, the other freshman. So I think the point guard by committee approach is really a good fit to what we're doing and the personnel that we have.
Cool.
Okay, there's no other questions in the queue, so I think that's all we have time for. Oscar, thanks for taking the time today, and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
And we'll bring Andy Katz back as we get set to introduce Jerod Haase.
All right, thank you, Jesse. And Jerod will be coming up here momentarily from Palo Alto. And, it's interesting what Oscar was saying about the program and being able to sustain losses like that. It shows that obviously this is a program, not just a team that Jerod has built on the farm there in Palo Alto. And we want to get to Jerod here about the transition and the recruiting that obviously has been incredibly successful over the last few months and year. I think they just went dark there. Let's see here. Just waiting for his video to pop up. There he is. So Jerod, the same thing I asked Oscar about the ability to absorb a loss like Tyrell Terry. What does that tell you about where your program is right now, that you can take that loss and still be considered one of the best teams in the league?
Well, it is exciting. I apologize about the technical difficulties there. What we've done is when I got the job, we talked about building a program. And I think that's an important part of what we're doing. It's not just trying to put a team together for 1 year, but build a program that has staying power. Obviously, with Ty leaving, that's a huge hole and a void kind of in our program right now. But at the same time, I think we recruited well and developed our players really well. And so there is some pride in the fact that we're able to, we think, absorb the loss the best we can. And you don't replace Ty in any way, because his shooting, his playmaking, his leadership were really good for us. But we do take a lot of pride that we have some other players in the program that we think can step up and provide at least some of those things. And the things that we can't provide, we're going to kind of move things around and figure it out as a group. But the guys are excited and doing well. And again, some pride in the fact that we're building a program that can sustain a loss like that.
All right. So who are you handing the ball to?
The group. Now I will say Dejon Davis has experience as a point guard. It's really neat finally also to have a program where we'll have a couple of senior starters that have been here for 4 years. And, it's a rare thing in college basketball to have a freshman come in, stay for 4 years, and be a senior starter. And not only do we have one, we have two of those. And Dejon has the experience from the last 3 years that I think he'll be able to carry into this year. Bryce Wills has some experience at the point guard and has a presence and a leadership quality to him. Michael O'Connell, but I think Dejon will probably get most of the reps early, and so far in practice has really shown us leadership and the ability to run the team.
All right, let's go. I think when you first got back with the group, if I'm not mistaken, you were outside. That's a little old school. What was that like?
Well, our serve and volley is awfully good. So the tennis game is on point, and hopefully it'll translate to basketball as well. But we were on the tennis courts and getting some shots up, trying not to push too hard, and having a different surface like there isn't ideal. I think it was 212 days in between being on a hardwood floor from the end of last year to our first practice indoors this year. And so that's challenging. But when we were outside, I think the guys took advantage of it. They were spirited. It was actually pretty neat in some ways, practicing or getting some shots up under the lights in Palo Alto and 70 degrees and, in the early fall, late summer. So those things were good, and we took advantage. And one of the themes has been appreciation. And I think the guys appreciated being together and having an opportunity to spend some time together.
All right, Zaire Williams, what kind of impact is he going to have?
I think he'll have a tremendous impact in a lot of different ways. Obviously, he's really talented, but he's not just a one-dimensional type player. He has the ability to shoot the basketball, penetrate, make plays for others. I think he has really good instincts offensively and on the defensive end as well. Last year we were very successful in being efficient on the defensive end of the floor, and we're going to put somebody in there with Zaire that has length, has instincts, and does play hard. And so I think he's going to impact the game in so many ways for us.
All right, last thing, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring back up Oscar, because he is, the definition of the student athlete. It really does feel like he fits that Stanford, sort of the model Stanford athlete, international, well-versed, multilingual. What's it been like to see him blossom just off the court, just being around him as a human being?
Well, you said it, and it's the fact is he is the gold standard of what a scholar athlete is, and certainly proud to have an opportunity to coach him, to help him grow and develop here. From working in the stem cell lab to taking the, I think we were in the Pac-12 tournament last year, and he was taking a chemistry final and biology tests, and so he really is the gold standard in so many ways as a student, but also as a person. And to be honest with you, as a player, to be an all-conference performer, to come back for his senior year, and he's just continuing to develop his shot, his game, his leadership. So I really am lucky to have a chance to be around him. And I think he's just one example of many guys we have, but certainly the gold standard.
Appreciate it, Jerod.
Thank you.
Now to you, Jesse.
All right, thanks, Andy. Welcome, Coach Haase. And we'll go to media Q&A now. Please use the raise hand function to move into the queue if you have a question. And to lead us off, we'll go to Rusty Simmons of the San Francisco Chronicle.
Hey, Coach, I was going to continue to ask about the tennis courts and playing under the lights and any other creative thing you guys have had to do during the pandemic, and especially with Santa Clara's kind of more stringent rules.
I think we've tried to be creative since the start of the pandemic. When we were away from the team, obviously Zoom calls were a norm for everybody, but we had many guest speakers come in and talk to the team from various backgrounds, where I think we were able to grow as a team, even though we weren't together. We talked to the guys all the time about trying to make gains on and off the court while they were home. And then since they've been back, obviously getting on the tennis courts, and, we didn't try and push it too hard. We weren't trying to, over condition or over cut where we were going to create injuries. And I think we managed that pretty well. And I think the thing we did best was develop those relationships that we think are so key to our team. And when they came back, just spending time on the court, getting shots up, getting to know the freshmen, helping the freshmen acclimate to the team. So it wasn't like we were trying to create anything out of control, but we did have opportunities, not only at tennis courts. We were at the football stadium in the concourse area and had the baskets up there, doing stationary ball handling and shooting up there as well before we were even on the tennis courts. So a lot of, and at times we were even just going on campus to some outdoor hoops. So we were using all resources we could find and really spend time with the guys and do the things we could do that were effective.
And then Andy asked a great question about everything that Oscar embodies off the floor, but I was going to ask about on the court as well. We've seen his development. What are kind of the next steps for him? What do you expect this season?
Well, he needs touches, and because he's not just a scorer when he has the basketball in his hands, because he has the ability to create for others, pass the basketball, and obviously score the basketball as well. But as a coach, we need to get him the ball, as we need to emphasize with his teammates. They need to be able to get him the basketball. And then Oscar needs to demand the basketball. I think his biggest transformation has been the willingness and ability to be more of a presence on the floor. And I think we're seeing that in practice right now, and that's going to need to continue. And so with that, his 3-point shooting will be something that can unlock other parts of his game as well. But even if he's not making a three in a game, he still has so many ways he can impact it on the offensive end of the floor. And then defensively as well, he provides leadership and is really anchors for so many things we do on the defensive end. So, we're talking about him right now as a complete person, but also that's his game as well. He's a complete player and certainly an anchor for what we're doing.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, next question. We will go to Kevin Dana of the Pac-12 Network.
Hi, Coach. Going back to your last game last year against Cal, you guys tipped off basically right when Rudy Gobert tests positive for coronavirus, and it seems like the world just kind of shuts down as you guys are basically on the court. I'm just curious, how aware were you guys of what was kind of going on around the country and the world as you guys were playing or right before you guys took the court?
Well, how about this? Just a few hours before our Cal game at Cal, is when Kobe Bryant had the helicopter crash. And that was obviously extremely impactful for our team just before that game. And I don't say that as excuses, but it's just the reality of the situation. The reality is in the Pac-12 tournament, all of this was going on. There was a lot of uncertainty and a lot of questions going on. And obviously we didn't perform well, and none of our guys, nor am I using that as an excuse, but we were aware. And I mean, within minutes after the game, it seemed like things were spiraling in terms of what the country was doing, in terms of athletics, in terms of the NCAA tournament, in terms of Stanford University, in terms of guys being on campus. And so it was just a really spiral in so many different ways. And but it did even start, before that game. And obviously we didn't handle it as well as we would like to in terms of performance. But it was obviously a time that was odd and strange and leading to things that were really very unique for a long time.
Okay, next question. We will go to RJ Abadia of the Bootleg.
Hey, Coach, we know that the top talking point has been turnovers for quite a while. So let's just get to it over the last couple weeks. Are the towel pushes spiking? Are they declining? What's the graph look like right now?
I think we're declining a little bit. It certainly has been no lack of emphasis. I think the guys understand how important it is to value the basketball. But I am a little bit stubborn too, because I do believe that attacking the basket and getting to the paint is a good thing. And when that happens, you are going to put the ball in jeopardy a little bit more. I also believe in sharing the basketball and having a selfless team. And when you do that, you're inviting some turnovers, but I also believe you gain the benefit from multiple guys being able to showcase their strengths and playing as a team. So we are putting the ball in a situation that we're being aggressive, we're sharing the basketball, and with that, sometimes you're putting yourself in a situation to have more turnovers. Now, having said that, I do think our guys are capable. I think we're capable as a team, and I think we're capable of developing a game plan to limit them and also gain the benefits from playing the aggressive way we're playing. So I think we're doing a good job emphasizing. I think the guys are doing a good job understanding how important it is, and then trying to take the teaching points we're giving them and apply them. So I think we're making progress, but it's certainly not a finished product yet.
And then I wanted to ask you about a term that gets a lot of attention in the NBA, load management. Last year, you had a couple freshmen who played significant roles for you and kind of had to find their way through towards the end of the season, and it took a little bit out of them. As you look at Zaire and at this year's team, who's probably going to have some young guys contributing, is there a college version of that? Is that something you're mindful of at this point?
Well, I think one of my, I probably have a lot of weaknesses, but one of my strengths as a coach is the fact that I did play, high level college basketball and have been through the grind when I was a player. The way I feel now, I wonder that maybe Coach Williams didn't know about load management when I was a player. But the reality is I can, really fall back on those experiences, and through communication with the guys. And we do have a lot of technology that we know, how much load they have, I suppose. But through my experiences, through my conversations, and through some common sense, I think we're trying to make sure that we take care of the guys' bodies, and at the same time get the things done we need to move forward as a program. So a lot of different ways we go about that. I suppose the simple term is load management. I'm aware of it, and we're aware of always trying to take care of our guys' bodies, and especially with freshmen, because I think it is a big adjustment, and we're always aware of that.
And then just one last real quick one. Is there an update on the captain positions? Have they been officially named? Where are we with that?
We have not officially named them, and I think we'll get to that point soon. But the guys, I think we do have some leadership. And we've already talked about Oscar and Dejan as seniors. I think are certainly providing that, but no official announcement yet.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Okay, we have time for one more, and we'll go to Rocco Miller of the Bracketeer. Apologies, we can't get the audio in from Rocco Miller, so we'll go to Dan Belawandamy of Pac-12 Network.
Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, congratulations on last year. I'm just curious, I know you got a kind of a committee backcourt. You got 4 starters back, and we know Zaire is as advertised, but of the new guys, has anybody really surprised you? And, in your mind, I know when you recruit players, I mean, you think they're all quality, good players, but anybody really come to the front and you're saying, boy, he's a lot better than I thought he was?
No, it's a great question. I'll say this, that obviously, Zaire, people know about him, and I do believe he's as advertised. But we have 4 other freshmen that I think are going to have staying power. I think there's people going to watch the league and for the next 4 years and say, man, how long have they been at Stanford? Because I think they're going to impact the game right now as freshmen and certainly moving forward. Brandon Angel and Max Merle have really showed a level of kind of toughness and grit and skill in the front court. And I think they have been impressive. I'm going to answer your question by kind of not answering it, because I think those 2, and then Noah Tate's, Michael O'Connell in the backcourt, similar kind of things. Noah has a real instinct for the game, and we're going to need people in the backcourt to provide depth. And Michael O'Connell has provided a toughness and a ability to handle the basketball. So I think all 4 you could see out there, and in their own way, all 4 have kind of shown abilities to be able to get on the floor this year. And that's obviously including Zaire as well.
Good luck this year.
Thank you.
Yes, good luck, Coach. That's all we have time for today. Look forward to seeing you out on the court soon.
Thank you so much.
Take care.